Greetings, Grace Covenant. Thank you for joining me on this last Friday in January 2021, or whenever you happen to stumble across this video on YouTube. We are literally 6 weeks away from a one-year anniversary of living life in a pandemic and socially distancing and finding new ways to do everything from church to work to school. It's almost hard to comprehend that we've been doing this for a year. And I think some of us probably thought we wouldn't be doing this for this long. And now that we know what we know it's going to continue for a while yet, even though we are getting vaccines and there is hope on the horizon. But as we've been dealing with the pandemic, as we have been forced to wrestle with so much in our society, with the ongoing battle with white supremacy, with things in the news constantly reminding us of racial inequity, and as we continue to try and fight for justice for all people, this can feel at times like a long road. And so I want to offer a few words of encouragement, if I can, as I have come to think about this, especially this last week. You've heard from Marcia's devotion that the staff sat in a wonderful online forum, and we were able to listen to the wisdom of Resmaa Menakem, who wrote My Grandmother's Hands. And with regards to the ongoing battle of white supremacy and the work for change in our country, he actually said something that initially had me feeling rather down. His assessment was that we were 9 generations from seeing this resolved and eradicated. 9 generations. And if a generation is 30 years, that's a long time. And you and I are not going to be here. If he's correct, you and I are not going to be here to see the fruit of our labor. So if you think living in a pandemic for a year is hard, you think fighting racism for a year is hard, we probably will fortunately get to see the end of living in a pandemic in our lifetime. But the battle for overcoming white supremacy and seeing equality and justice for our Black and brown brothers and sisters, for our Indigenous brothers and sisters, is going to be a while. And so I thought all the way back to childhood, and there's that book that says everything you ever needed to know you learned in kindergarten. Well, one of the stories I learned early on was the tale of the tortoise and the hare, and we all know in that story that the race was not to the swift, but it was the one who endured and just kept plugging along. Of course, there are plenty of scripture verses to encourage us on our way. In Hebrews, we are encouraged to run the race with perseverance, not to give up. Isaiah 40:31 tells us that those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and not faint. One of the things that had me thinking about this anniversary was that my first devotion time with you all a year ago was me planting bulbs in my backyard. And I looked out this week, and some of those bulbs are starting to break through the surface. And I know that there's going to be flowering in the spring because of the work I did. If it wasn't so cold outside today, I would take you with me and we would look at all of that. Um, Another thing I did last year in landscaping my yard um, was to replenish. Trees had to be removed for part of the construction here, and I wanted some more trees. So I've planted some small trees. And at the time I planted them, and today, as I'm sitting here with you, I'm reminded of a quote. I think it is attributed to a number of people and is said in a variety of ways, but the substance is the same. And that is that the one who plants trees, knowing that he will never sit in their shade, has begun to understand the meaning of life. I want you to think about that. The trees that we are planting, the work we are doing right now towards white supremacy, we may not get to sit in that shade, but we are doing the work so that future generations can live in that. And so I don't want you to give up, Grace Covenant. We need to support each other. We need to have that forward vision. It's easy to get caught up in this society where we tend to want everything immediately. I mean, goodness knows the instant gratification of our society is overwhelming at times. Everything from microwave popcorn to Instagram to same-day delivery. We want things now. And the fact of the matter is we're not going to get this now. We're not going to get over the pandemic today. We've still got work to do to get through that. And we are not going to see the full fruits of our labor in this work work towards tackling white supremacy and equity for all people. So don't let that discourage you. Know that you are in this race for a time and that you are charged with work to do. And in those relay races, there will come a time where you have to pass off the baton. And then you can say that you ran the race with perseverance, you fought the good fight, and you finished the course. But we're a ways from finishing our part in this course. And so continue to stay safe. Continue to stay hopeful. Wear your mask. Get your vaccine as soon as you can. Know that you are loved and know that you have a community surrounding you virtually. And we'll be back personally with you as soon as we can. Let us know in the meantime how we can continue to support you. And just know that you are loved. Godspeed, Grace Covenant.